All right. Good evening to everybody in India and similar time zones, and really good morning to everyone in the West. My name is Shamiran Dasgupta, and I take this opportunity to welcome you to the first Nif Connect session. The Nif Connect session is, the idea for Nif Connect session has been on for a while. It's taken some time for us to, bring this concept to life, and we're extremely excited. We've done a lot of work at the background to, essentially bring the right stakeholders and hopefully curate the right kind of content for these sessions. The idea for the session is essentially, to build our own community. I mean, we've in the last couple of years, the Nif user group has grown. We've got lots of people now who are working on the platform, who are, spending all their days looking at and working with data on the Nif platform. And we wanted to essentially bring all of us together so that we could essentially collaborate and defend ourselves better. So, I mean, this is reason one. Reason two is to recognize our own heroes. I mean, I think we're amazing set of people. We're meeting on a continuous basis. There are lots of people who we get in touch with, who are using Nif in different ways and are doing extremely exciting work. So the idea is to also help us identify such people and be able to, showcase them in front of everybody, so that we are able to, everybody is able to gain from their experience. I think that's one of the most important things that we find. I mean, in the cybersecurity world space, especially, we've seen that a lot of ethical hackers or the attacking side or the intrusive side gets recognized, right? I mean, we have lots of conferences where we're talking about hacking, hacking ideas, but we the defenders who are, spending lonely lives behind screens and hoping to, defend ourselves on a continuous basis is an opportunity we are missing out on. So I think this is our attempt, to recognize those people who are doing extremely innovative things to defend themselves and defend their customers better, and in so using the platform in innovative ways as well. So that's essentially what we want to do. We want to, essentially recognize our own heroes. Now, okay, so the initial part, right? We were thinking that we'll have these sessions in different geographies, right? And starting with Mumbai, where we would basically, on a monthly basis get together, huddle in a meetup, and talk over sandwiches and coffee, and basically exchange notes in a constructive format. But then we got a lot of backlash from users who are not based in Bombay, especially users in Kochi, in Chennai, in Bangalore, users in Kolkata, in Pune, right? They wanted to be a part of this setup as well. So, I mean, most of you are now. Therefore, we decided to do this innovate a little bit and not do this in the webinar fashion, but try and do a meetup online so that we can have a conversation going. And we also basically launched something called stack.nif.it, right? I mean, stack.nif.it is a forum page where Mervin, can you have the stack.nif.it slide that you can put on screen? Okay, later. So the idea for stack.nif.it was to have our own forum set where we all the Nif users could essentially collaborate, have a place that they can ask questions, clear their doubts, and basically run through the Nif platform through and through. I mean, you could also collaborate on use cases, you could collaborate on installation challenges, managing your cluster, whatever challenges you have, you could essentially post there. A couple of I think the bigger benefits is that doing it on a forum gets you faster response, and you don't have to worry about SLAs. Number one. Number two, you don't have to worry about using up your support hours. Community gives you cross-breed experience. I mean, they allow you to exchange notes across the community. So sometimes you're looking for a challenge that somebody else has faced earlier, and those things already exist on the forum itself. So you don't have to post again. You just can look at what they're already posted, and you can solve your challenges going forward. So stack.nif.it is something that we are actively promoting. We want all of you to use it actively. In fact, we're also giving away awards, which I think Mervin will talk about in during the show, where we are basically going to reward people who are interacting, have the highest amount of interaction on the portal, right? And finally, so the format of the session is something that the moderator Mervin is going to help us understand. But my idea was to bring together a mix of young people from the Nif team who can demonstrate smaller features that you could use in your everyday work life, and then also bring an industry expert, right, who can show you some of the key use cases that they're working on, give you a demo around how they're doing and solving great problems. So we are essentially looking for, if you're doing something amazing and if you're doing something crazy and you would want to be a part of the Nif Connect session as well, please feel free to drop us a line, and we can collaborate and curate some content for the future. This time we are having somebody from our partner that Mervin is going to introduce you. I won't break that secret, but I think this is going to be very exciting. So with that, I'm going to, I've already spoken about Mervin. Mervin Marks is the one that runs events, that gives out goodies, a very, very important person in the collaborative community side of Nif. He runs the entire program, the outreach program. So if you're in the colleges, you've obviously seen him. He's just a great guy to talk to. Yeah, I mean, and a very health conscious one at that. Over to Mervin. Mervin is also going to moderate the session and help us navigate through the next couple of hours. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoy the show.
Okay, so thanks, Shamron. Thanks for that great introduction. So before we get started with Nif Connect, wanted everyone to just refresh back to what Shamron mentioned. So we have something called an award called the Community Captain Award. Okay, so it's basically get on to stack.nif.it and be part of the community. Contribute over there, and just ask questions, reply to questions, read the answers, like them, and contribute over there. So that's how it's it's going to make a difference. Okay, so one thing that's very important, just wanted to put it out there in the beginning. If for some reason you get disconnected and you can't log into the webinar room again, worry not. Okay, this meeting is being streamed live on Nif, Facebook, and YouTube. A recording of the entire session will be sent to you on your registered email. So that's one thing that to keep in mind right at the start. Yes, as Sean mentioned, I'll take you to the agenda and I will guide you to the whole process as to what and who will be presenting what. So we start off with Lenora Agnell. Now, she, of course, will be showcasing the creation of widgets using threat intelligence feeds. This duration of her session will be about 10 minutes. This will be closely followed by Ravida Purwal, who will be showing us or basically helping us discover non-standard hosts using checkif functionality in Nif. Duration of his session again will be 10 minutes. Now we come to the highlight. This session will be followed by Ankit Bose, who will showcase the advantage of the new methods of threat hunting as compared to the old methods. Duration of his session will be an interesting 40 minutes. Okay, the final session to be provided will be that of Apurva, okay, affectionately called Appy, who will be taking us through the Nif roadmap, enlightening us with some of the new and upcoming features we can expect in the near future. His session will be that of 10 minutes. Now, we have a Q&A session, right? So we'll have a few questions right after Ankit Bose's. whole presentation and demonstration. And the remainder of the questions we will have answered at the end of the session. Now, questions raised during the session will be answered by the respective presenter at the end of the entire session. Okay, I request attendees to please state the name of the presenter in the question that is addressed to. So it starts with the name. You can put a hyphen there and question. So please feel free to keep posting your questions.
And one more thing, Mervin, just pause. One more thing, some ground rules. Obviously, you know that you are on mute right now, and just to avoid confusion while this presentation goes on, it's going to remain that way. Please interact with us on the chat. We are very happy if you need anything. Just type a message to the panelists. One of us over here. We've got a lot of production people over here who are here to help. If you have any trouble logging in, signing in, hearing us, please do let us know on the chat. And something that I want to go, beyond the planned route. I want to talk about, you all are users, right? And I'm sure that you find on a day-to-day working with the product, you find some things that would help you. Some features that might help you do your work better, faster, give you a quantum leap in the amount of time it takes to do your job. Please, right, put that into the chat. We are going to compile this and send this out on the email, just so that these questions, these chats are marked. Put a tag called feature request, hashtag feature dash, and put the feature request. Whatever you want us to build, and put that on the chat and keep it beaming, right? So let's make this interactive. Also use the questions panel to write questions to whoever is talking. Name, just mention. Let's say you want to write a question to Ankit, just write Ankit Bose and hyphen, put the question down so that we know it's a question for Ankit Bose, and we'll take it from there. Oh, sorry, back to Mervin Marks.
Okay, so thank you, Shomron, again. And now let's move on to our first speaker the evening. So we have Lenora Agnell. Now, Lenora Agnell is a security analyst at Nif, right? She's one of our young superstars and an active member of the Null Mumbai community. She enjoys sketching in her free time and loves writing short poems. What is she going to tell us about? She's going to tell us about the creation of widgets using threat intel feeds. So over to you, Lenora.
Hello everyone, I'm Lenora. Thank you, Mervin. You'll definitely get a poem of appreciation for that lovely introduction. So hi, good evening everyone. Thank you for joining this Nif Connect meetup. It's our first one, so we are pretty excited. So I'll be presenting how to create widgets, and this I'll be doing using our Intel data. I'll be sharing my screen now. So once you log in to our Nif console, this is the search page where you can type in all your queries and analyze your data. So Nif has a lot of enrichment plugins that help enrich our log data from various devices. And we have a lot of open source enrichment plugins that you can integrate, and this will additionally help you to get a better view of your data, and also if there is any suspicious data that you need to validate, you can do that using our enrichment plugins. So this is the fetch directive that we are going to use in our query. We're going to be using the Intel data for this, which is why we'll be using the Intel true parameter here, and also specify the duration for 24 hours for this specific query, following which we'll list all the parameters that we need to showcase here in the result. So here we'll be using the source IP, the source country, and the source location, and we'll restrict the limit to 10. So once you once you run this query, you will see the data that has been fetched here in the resultant stack. And as you can see, we fetched 27K records in 0.073 seconds. So it gives you an idea of how fast Nif can retrieve data in so much little time, which is why we've specified the duration as 24 hours, so that you can narrow down your data set. Following this, you can, just to visualize your data better, you can create a widget out of this. Here you will get a selection of packages, and you can select whichever package you want to create the widget in. This will take you to another page which will show you how the widget looks like. There are a lot of types of widgets that you can create. First, we'll be doing the Geomap, for which you can select the source country as the parameter that has to be showcased. And this is how your chart will look like. Based on the number of counts, there are color codes for this, for the various countries that are here. The next one will be a map, which will give you the exact locations of the hits that has been found by your Intel data, and you can look at it better, and you can also have a street view of these uh, source locations. Now another type of widget that you can create is the pie chart. So for this, you can have two keys. The primary key you can select as the source country. The secondary key you can select as the source IP, and you can click on create chart. This will give you the chart shows you both those parameters that you have selected in your primary and your secondary key. The primary key being the source countries, which you can see here, and the source IPs that have been selected as the secondary key. You can name the widgets as threat intel or whatever you like. Additionally, you can add a context detail here. These context details has queries that fetches additional data apart from the unique parameters that you have selected. So if you want to fetch your destination IPs where the traffic has been sent to, or the targets, you can add a context detail for that. So all you have to do is you have to paste this query here and specify your primary and your secondary keys. So your source country is your primary key here, along with your secondary key, which is your source IP. And you want to list down the unique destination IPs. So you just specify that in your query, and then you click on create chart. So once you've done this, you just have to right click and on the source IP that you want to fetch the destination IP for, and here it'll redirect you to it'll open another page here and list all the destination IPs that this specific IP has sent its traffic to. So it lists the destination IPs along with the counts. And similarly, you can create a lot of other widgets using these Intel plugins, and you can create a dashboard out of that, and it will give you a view of all the activities that are happening with respect to threat or your applications or any other parameters that you want to visualize your data better for. So that is how you create a widget. Over to you, Mervin.
Okay, so that was Lenora explaining how to create widgets using threat intel. Hope everyone enjoyed that. So again, if you have any questions, please feel free to click on the Q&A tab, right, and post them right away. Also mention the speaker's name to whom the question is addressed to. We'll take up all questions at the end of the entire session, right? And do not forget, as I mentioned, there are a lot of freebies to be won. The best question will be announced at the end of the session by Shomron. So you have a Q&A tab, please hit that and ask your questions. So next, we move on to Ravidat Purwal. Now, Ravidat Purwal is a security analyst at NIF, again, one of our budding young superstars. A cybersecurity enthusiast, he constantly involves himself in anything remotely technical. He's an active member of the Null Mumbai chapter, wherein he has presented on multiple topics, on multiple occasions as well. He's also an active gamer and prefers FPS. Now, for the uninitiated, FPS is first-person shooter. Okay, so the topic that he's going to take us through is to how do you discover or discovering non-standard hosts using checkif function in NIF. So over to you, Ravi.
First of all, thank you, Marvin, for the detailed introduction. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the checkif functionality in NIF. So the query directive used to apply conditional logic on a result set. Okay, so as Lenora shown you that we can fetch the data. So if we want to apply the logic on that, checkif logic on that, we will require a checkif directive. Okay, so we have multiple, the checkif works like any other if function in any programming language. So if we want to compare integer compare, we can compare strings, we can compare time, date and keys also. Okay, and we have another lookup also. We can store data somewhere and then we can compare it with that also. Okay, so here I'm going to talk about string compare only for today. So in string compare, we have different sub functions, which is equal to and not equal to, and there is a substring, and there is a regular expression. So if you want to check that the data is coming and you want to compare it with a specific string, then you can use equal to and non-equal to. And then if you want to search a substring in a data, then you can use a substring function. And then regular expression you can use to find a pattern on data. So I'm going to talk about one use case, which is a non-standard port. Okay, so we have multiple computers name here. Okay, I'm fetching the data from last 60 days, and we have unique computers system name, and so we want to specify a standard for our host. Okay, so if we want I exploit -pc, okay, this will be our standard. Okay, for example. So if we want to fetch these kind of data, we can use a regular expression. So this is how we can use regular expression. So I'll start with what we want. So we want capital A to Z, then small a to Z, the whole world, and then after that word we'll require one hyphen and then PC. So this will be our regex to find those host name. Okay, so here I'm firing checkif with string compare function, and then the field name we want to apply logic on. Okay, so system name will be our field name. Then we have to type the sub function, which is regex, and then we have to paste the regex function. So regex is the regular expression, and then what we want to do with this data. So we want to exclude this data or we want to include this data. So for right now, I want to exclude this data because I don't want a standard host. I want non-standard host. So I'm excluding this data. So here you can find that these host name are not standard. So this is how we can fetch those data. Okay, so if you want to check with substring, you can also use substring function. Like if you want just laptop host name, okay, then you can use substring. Okay, then laptop. Okay, it will fetch only laptop and it will exclude all those data which is not coming from laptop. Okay, so if you are following these standard, you can follow these standard, or if you want to if you have a standard pattern, then you can use that. Okay, thank you for this demo, and over to you, Marvin.
Okay, so that was Ravi taking us to the check if function, and I hope people found that useful. Okay, so now we move on to the Social Geek Award. Now it's a bit of an explanation, right? So this is for the best tweet. So guys, please go ahead, tweet on tweet on FB as well, and hashtag Nif Connect, and mention us as at the rate Nif HQ. We have a Social Geek Award plan for the best post. So you have till 5 p.m. tomorrow. That's the 22nd of Feb. That's a Friday, 5 p.m. Tomorrow to make post as much as you can. The best post will win a 1,000 rupee Amazon gift card. So you have till that time. All I like to say is go postal on the posts, right? And so now we move on to the highlight of the evening, presenting Ankit Bose. Now, Ankit Bose is a cybersecurity consultant at PwC. He operates out of the Kolkata office. His expertise lie in SIEM architecture deployment, design, content creation, and threat hunting. He's been working in this field for the past 3 years and has worked with everything from the pharma companies to banks and government clients. His passion is cyber threat detection and research. He's an avid traveler. He enjoys playing video games and meditating. Now, what Ankit Bose will be telling us is new ways of threat hunting. Here, Ankit will be taking us through the modern methods of threat hunting as compared to the old school methods. So, over to you, Ankit.
Hey, Marvin. Thanks for introducing me. And really nice initiative taken by DNIF to bring the whole community together, right? So, hi everyone. I am Ankit. Let me just share my screen once, and then we can continue. Okay. So what I'm going to talk to you guys today is the new way of threat hunting. As we all know that the guys on the other side, right, the guys on the dark side, they are getting powerful, they are getting sophisticated, they are trying out new attacks, and we are not being able to stop them within the correct time using the correct methods, right? It's like always they are one step ahead of us. So how do we change that? Do we change our methods? What new things should we do in order to mitigate that? And that is how I present to you an automated response to the modern adversary. A little introduction about myself, but I think Marvin has done a pretty good job in doing that. I'm Ankit Bose. I'm associate at PwC India, and I've been here for 3 years. I'm an incident handler. I'm a threat hunter and a gamer. And any of you have any questions and anything you want to know, you want to have a chat, you can always ping me on Twitter at IronBasket. So let's start, okay? And before we start, let me show you the agenda for tonight. So the agenda is that I will tell you the problems with the old school. I will tell you then what the new way recommends. Then I will go through three different attacks that we have: the Shawshank Redemption, the Italian Job, and the Mask. Why I have named it like this, I will soon disclose. Then I will show you how to mitigate those kind of attacks, and then we can have a Q&A session over that. Okay. Okay. So quick question. Guys, can we have a poll on this? So the question is, what kind of threat hunting platform are you currently using? Is it an open source platform? Is it a commercial big data platform? It's a commercial hunting platform or a traditional SIM? Let's have a poll.
Okay, so yeah, Ankit, thanks for that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a poll live now. Okay, so I'll just give you the ground rules of this poll. So the question, as you know, is right in front of your screen. Okay, when I make this launch this poll, there will be a time limit of around 15 seconds, wherein you will see the question, see the multiple options. You get to select whichever one you want, and I will show you the results. Okay, so I'm about to launch the poll, and there you go. We're 10 seconds into the poll.
Amazing to see these stickers are flying. Amazing. Thanks for the interaction. Very happy to see this going.
Okay, so I'm about to end the poll now and share the results.
Okay, so most of us are using traditional SIMs, and okay, a large percentage in open source platform. Wow, nice. Didn't expect.
What's interesting is also, Ankit, what's interesting also, they're also using commercial big data platforms, so that's also on the rise. I mean, I was not expecting to see that really. So I mean, great, congratulations. Thanks for being on the show. Ankit, over to you.
Okay. So let's start with the fun. Okay. So the old school way and the problems that they have given us. Okay. The first problem is high query time. So I don't know. I mean, how much time do you spend, and I mean, on a daily basis to just fetch reports, right, or fetch the logs, right? I mean, imagine on a traditional SIM, the client wants you to give like a report of the last 1 week, right? And I can guarantee you that it will take minimum 5 to 6 hours to fetch that report. If you're lucky, if you're optimized SIM, in minimum 5 to 6 hours, you can get that report, right? So we are losing up on speed, we are losing up on time here. The next thing is that traditional SIMs work on correlation engines, which have a threshold-based alerting. Like if 100 of such events happens within 5 seconds, raise an alert, right? But that brings us to our next problem, that we can only detect things that we know of, right? I mean, we can only detect whatever information we have. On the basis of that, we don't know if the adversary changes his ways, and if something new he tries out, we will miss, right? And the next question that also comes with threshold-based alerting is that you don't know where to set the threshold, right? I mean, what is the basis on which you will set a threshold? That is very tricky to get. Okay. Next is you have to when you're validating your alerts, you need to use a separate threat intelligence, whether it be a commercial tool that you're using, or maybe on the internet you're checking. But again, it's you have to separately do that in a different tool, right? Next problem is the analyst dependent triage. I mean, what kind of incidents get reported and what are the things that are missed is it depends a lot on the capability of the analyst, and also maybe there are certain work that can be automated, but the analyst has to go through that manually, right? And he has to spend his time when he could have done some other better, I mean, more mission critical jobs that he could have done. The last point that gives us a problem is that we need to have a dedicated response team, right? I mean, we need to make sure that the team is I mean, there should be a good coordination between the analyst team and the response team, and they have to manually go and put in every kind of response, right? Whether it be blocking an IP on firewall, or whether it be getting a antivirus report, we need to do this manually currently. Okay. So
I have a question here.
Sure.
So when you touched very briefly upon the setting thresholds part. When you work with customers, what's the process? How do you discover thresholds for them? I mean, because I'm sure that whenever you obviously carry standard rule sets, and when you deploy on customers, you deploy these rule sets. how do you go about, reconfiguring them and making sure thresholds are correct
Yeah.
and
So,
the right kind of the sensitivity essentially?
So the thing with SIMs, is it's like a baby. You have to feed it, you have to clothe it, you have to keep it running all the time, right? And what we do as a practice is, obviously we will start with a standard threshold, and then we will fine tune it with the client's network, right? What kind of activity goes on in their network, what is the standard baseline that is happening there, right? We will fine tune it accordingly, and we have to continuously do that. We have to do this on a regular basis, right? Because networks change regularly and people change regularly, right? So we have to do a continuous fine tuning on the thresholds.
Makes sense. Thank you so much.
Okay, so let's come to the new way, right? So now with the invention of like big data and the ELK platform and several such engines, we have cut down on query time, right? What used to take hours can now be done in seconds, right? Even not only just a week's report, we can fetch a month's report even very quickly, thanks to the new method of indexing and searching, right? Second thing is we can detect outliers, right? I mean, you don't know. Essentially what we have seen is people don't know what is going on in their network, right? And it's very difficult to detect if something that is happening that is not normal. I mean, detecting anomaly has been a challenge, right? But now there are tools available with which we can detect outliers, tools like DNIF, right, Shamiran? Okay, so
hell yeah.
yeah, so
Talk about it.
yeah, so next thing is machine learning, right? It's a very big buzzword in the industry, machine learning and AI and deep learning. But let's not go into AI and deep learning. Let's keep those to the scientists. What we work with on a day-to-day basis is machine learning, where we tell the computer that, see, this is something that we expect, this is something that we don't expect, right? And then we train it like we train any other human being to, from that data set, to make decisions or give us results on its own, right? So that is something that has become a very integral component in detecting next gen attacks. Next thing is threat intelligence, right? So wouldn't it be better if like the threat intel that you have, it comes integrated as a part of the log? I mean, the log gets enriched and comes to you in a way that you can say just by looking at the log, yes, this is a bad IP or this is a bad file hash, and you can act then and there on that, right? The next 2 points, again, very popular, getting popular these days, is security orchestration and automated remediation. What is security orchestration? It's basically when you are the validation and the notification for the incidents are happening automatically, right? So you have automated those validations, whatever job that your analyst needed to do, right? When he gets, like, for example, when he gets an hit from unknown IP, he will go into maybe virus total or somewhere, and he will check, right, what is this IP, or he will do a whois lookup on it and see where it is from, who has registered it, right? And this kind of validations we can automate. And also raising tickets. I mean, how many of you like spend the day entirely on raising tickets, right? That is something that can be very easily automated, and that is something the industry is moving towards, right? And the last thing is automated remediation, where basically what you do is you automatically block an IP on the firewall, or you get that file deleted automatically from the server where the infection has been detected. This is something that is, but again, this requires very critical fine tuning, and I mean, engineering this is something that you should not take very lightly. Okay. So let's see, another poll time. Okay. Another quick question. So do you have any dedicated threat hunting team?
Okay, so again, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm going to do is I'm going to launch a poll, same ground rules as previously. Okay, you will have your time to get your answers in place, and I will share the results once the time is up. So launching the poll. "15 seconds into the poll. And I'm about to end the poll and share the results.
Wow, that's great. That's great. Okay, so we are putting a lot of effort on threat hunting. I didn't expect, honestly, I didn't expect to see this. I didn't expect that so many of us are actually doing threat hunting on a daily basis with a dedicated team. Great. Shamiran, what's your view on this?
I think this is, a couple of years back, even last year. I mean, I remember this conversation at SACON we were having, where people were just starting to realize how humanly intense the threat hunting process is, and the lack of skill. I think so. This clearly, when we see more people in the threat hunting business, I think our community is growing. This is the most amazing thing that hits me, and I'm so happy to see more hunters, more people looking for threats. That means we have more friends in the industry. I'm not looking at the business side at all right now, but it's just extremely heartening, right?
Yes,
You've got a good future. Thank you.
Okay, so good work, guys. Keep the threat hunting going. Okay.
I'll stop the share right now.
Okay. So let's move on. Let's move on to our very like these three new kinds of attacks that we are seeing. Okay. So the first one, Shawshank Redemption. It's basically slow brute force attack. What is slow brute force attack? It's basically the attacker will be doing very slow logins, right? I mean, he may be doing a couple of logins per minute. And why I'm calling this Shawshank Redemption, because if you remember in the movie, how Tim Robbins was like going about a few hours during the night and giving a few, making his way through the prison, right? The attacker will do the same thing. He will give a couple of brute force a minute, but that if you calculate, it's almost close to 3,000 brute forces in a day, right? And that is slow enough to evade detection, but is fast enough to get the job done, right? So the problems with brute force attacks like this is that due to the slow logins, we will not be able to match any kind of threshold that we have set, right? Because I mean, one login a minute, right? I mean, that's possible. That's very usual that happens, right? And the another big challenge we get in traditional SIMs is tracking user behavior, right? I mean, that has been a challenge so far. Let's see, another attack that I am going to talk how to mitigate on is the DNS tunneling. So again, let's have some movie hints. So if you have seen the movie Italian Job, what basically happens is these guys who are planning a heist, right? And they do the heist, they get the money, but how do they move it around? So what they do is they convert the money. I mean, they have stolen some gold, right? So they put the gold under the hood of their cars, right? So the car body has a gold plating over it, and they transfer this this gold with the cards. I mean, the cards look ordinary on the outside, but who knows that they have gold in the inside, right? Same with DNS tunneling. So with DNS tunneling, what happens is DNS server is something that will always have a external network connectivity, right? Because you need to know what's Google's IP is, right? And you need to know what's Facebook's IP is, right? I mean, this DNS conversion is extremely necessary for the network, right? So this will always have an external connectivity. It will have a high utilization. There will be a lot of traffic generated. And what the attackers, they will do now, like when they have managed to get a hold on your system, on one of your internal systems, they will start communicating back this through this DNS traffic. They will use some other protocol there, and they will send the data, I mean, communicate with their command centers through this traffic, and they will get updates on other tasks that the further tasks that these bots need to do, right? And the only one thing that can be said about DNS tunneling is that there must be a difference in the size of the packets that are generated, right? I mean, a standard DNS query and the standard DNS protocol and some custom protocol and custom query, they will differ in their parameters, so as to the query size will vary, right? That is something we can count on. Okay, so another attack that we are seeing these days is the Dga malware. So like how the mask could change his face like instantly, right? And he could take the face of any other person. So similarly, what the Dga malware works is that a couple hundred of randomly generated domains will be spawned every day, right? And among those couple hundreds, this malware will communicate to 10 of those IPs, right? And this will keep on changing, maybe on a daily basis or maybe on a weekly basis, or whenever the attacker feels like, right? So what happens is that both the server side and the client side, they are synced and they connect on the same random domain names that are generated. And what the problem here is that see, if my malware is communicating to one side only, what we can do is we can check for, like, we can take that side down, or we can even statistically we can say, yeah, the total volume of traffic that is being sent is abnormal to the other traffic in the same network, right, in the same zone maybe. But if he divides this traffic across multiple servers to multiple destinations, that we lose that statistical edge. Also, that we have to manually validate each and every domain to check if they are a malicious domain or not, right? So these are the three use cases. If you have any question on how they work, please shoot a question on the chat, and I will surely answer it later. So these are the three use cases that I am going to show how you can mitigate. Okay, but before that, another question, right? I like how the responses are coming, right? So how do you usually build use cases? Is it an out of the box, what is given by your vendor, or do you have some threat modeling in place?
Okay, so Ankit, thanks. What I'm going to do again is same ground rules. Question will be there. You will have time to answer. I will launch the poll right now. We are 10 seconds into the poll.
I'm going to bet on out of the box use cases for sale.
And the polls are about to end.
Okay.
And just give me a minute. So unable to actually, just give me a minute. I think I'm having some technical difficulties.
Okay, I'm going to help you. Yeah, end the poll. Yeah,
And
share
share
results. Okay.
This is something I expected. This is something
Predictable. This one is predictable. Yeah. Okay, cool. So I think this is one of the things that we want to propagate, right? I mean, Ankit, you want to talk about what kind of threat modeling you folks do before? I mean, that's something that I saw PwC having a very strong process in threat modeling and figuring out what kind of threats a customer is most likely to see, and focus on those first rather than go carpet bombing and try and bring in everything that that a vendor provides out of the box.
Yeah. So see, every network is different. Every network has its own signature, has its own quirks, right? And no network is same. So the first thing that we do is we conduct workshops with the client where we understand how their network is architectured, how the traffic flows, right? And then we figure out the possible attack surfaces, the places where they are vulnerable, where the attackers can do attacks, or maybe the critical data or the critical processes or the servers that they have, where they are located, how the data flows, which are the ports that are used, and this whole thing. So we conduct a very detailed workshop with them, and then we based on that input that we got from the client and based on the discussions that we have with them, we start with the initial set of use cases, right? And after that what we will do is we have our own threat research team that goes on researching about the new kind of attacks that are going on, or new kind of campaigns that are being propagated right now. And we also build use cases based on those campaigns, or based on these APT groups, or based on these new kinds of attacks that are coming. So the ground rule for SIEM for detection is keep updating, keep fixing things, and get the job done.
Okay, great. So I will stop sharing the poll. We can continue from there.
Okay. All right. So let's quickly move on to the first use case, right? So how do we manage slow brute force attacks? And the steps are that first we need to track how many fail logins each user is doing on a daily basis. This will vary from user to user. Some of us, we remember our passwords, we log in one try. Some of us keep forgetting our passwords, and we have to do a couple of fail logins before we get it, right? So we need to track these fail logins that every user is doing on a daily basis, and then we need to set a baseline. Okay, so I mean, maybe this many are the fail logins that we have observed, and then we set a upper limit on that. And when we have set the upper limit, we have to keep that data in the SIEM. And then what we will do is we will measure deviations from that baseline, right? So if, for example, I suddenly see that the guy who is to do 10 fail logins every day, maybe on an average, he is doing hundreds, right? And that is going to trigger something in my mind, right? That this is not usual. This is the anomaly. This is the outlier, and I need to raise a ticket, right? So how do we do this? Let me show you on DNIF. So everybody, if everyone can see my screen. So the first thing is the profiling, right? So here is the query for profiling. So what we are doing is, so we are fetching the last 15 days data, right? And we are fetching the unique systems that have a failed login, and we are stack counting the dev source IP and the user. So the device that has failed, the failed login has happened onto, and the user that has failed login. On basis of this, we are keeping a profile. and then we are setting an upper limit on the profile. Like for example, here I have taken a 20%. I have done an average. Since I have a 15-day data, I have done an average of 15 days. So divide by 15, and we have set a threshold over that. The upper limit is 20%, right? And I am storing this data in my profile. Okay, so once I have stored this data in my profile, I can keep on upgrading it. I can set a cron job for maybe every day at 12 o'clock, I will update the profile, right? And I am not running this query right now because I have already created my profile. I will just show you how we are detecting it. Okay, so this is the query for detection. I'm going to execute this, and then I'm going to explain to you step by step. So okay, so see, the first query has given me that today this guy John has done 24 failed logins, and this guy Sam has done 6 failed logins, right? So that's okay. So next, what I do is I do a check if, and I look up the profiler. I check the profiler, and I see for this user, for every user in my list, does the count unique that I have now, is it exceeding the upper limit that I have set? Is it exceeding the baseline that I have set? If yes, then please raise a module, right? So if you can see in the inbox, so we can see that brute force on single user, this module has triggered, right? And it is saying that John is experiencing a brute force on his account. Okay, so this was the first use case. Any questions? Please let me know on the chat. I will answer after this session. Okay, so let's move on to the next use case. This is the DNS tunneling. So how are we going to track DNS? How are we going to detect DNS tunneling? And how can we automate a certain part of the tracking, right? And certain part of the triage. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to track all the DNS communications that are happening, right? All the DNS traffic that is moving out of my network. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a module that is going to validate with my threat intel if this DNS communications, that are the destinations that I'm communicating with, are they malicious or are they not, right? That is my one alert. I will do another query where I will track, I will profile the systems for their DNS query size. I mean, what size packets does this DNS server usually receive, right? So what kind of packet am I sending to this DNS server? I will, just like the brute force use case, I'm going to track that, and I'm going to set a baseline on the average size of the query that each source destination pair is working on a regular basis, right? And then I'm going to track a change in that behavior, any deviation from that behavior, if the size suddenly increases or decreases, that. And I can raise a module to alert me for that. Now, the interesting part that comes is that, of course, if these two events happen separately, I need to go and validate, right? But if I get these two events, both the events are triggered, I can have an additional alert that will automatically log a ticket or automatically raise an incident in my ticketing system or somewhere where I'm maintaining it, and I don't need the analyst to validate this, right? The system will be validating this for me on its own. Yeah. So how do we do this? How do we do this on DNIF?
Okay, so Ankit, gentle reminder, we have about 7 minutes to go for this session.
Okay, sure. So so the first thing that I'm going to do here is the first query where I'm checking for malicious destinations, right? So what I have done is I have tracked in the last 1 hour how many destinations have I done a DNS query to, right? And if you see, the result gives me that these are the 3 servers that I have run a DNS query on. I mean, the DNS query has passed to. Now what I am doing is I am automatically validating my output with the Kaspersky threat intel, right? And I'm getting an IP report where it is saying that, yeah, so this first IP is a green. I mean, it's a safe IP, but the other 2 IPs are red, right? So I do not need to open up Kaspersky portal, or maybe open a virus portal or anything and check there. This will be done by the system for me only, right? And I'm saying that if it is red, if the 2 IPs are red, please include that and then raise an alert on the same. So this, what it is doing is it is raising the alert to my console, right? And now let's come to the second query, which is the profiling of the DNS query size. So this will be the query for profiling, right? So I'm taking the last 30 days data, and I'm taking the source IP, the destination IP, and the transaction length. So the transaction length will give me an idea of the size of the packet that has been sent, right? And I am doing an average on the transaction length. I'm setting up upper limit, and I am storing it in the DNS profiler, right? Same as the brute force one. So once my profile is ready, what I will do is I will check the same way. If the fetch the current last 1 hour's log, do an average of the transaction that has happened, and then match with the profiler, right? So check if on the DNS profiler based on the source IP, and see if the average size of the packet has increased, right? And then it will raise a module. Okay. Now the interesting part is, if I can run a 4th query, right, which will basically tell me if the malicious DNS has been triggered, then if the DNS anomaly has been detected on the package, then automatically raise an incident. When I do this, what is happening is, so I can see, yeah, it has got both. So it has run it. Now, if I go to the inbox, what I see is, so what has happened is, so it has automatically raised the incident. It's not just a module raised, it's an incident that has been raised. And the second thing that it has done is, it has automatically correlated. See, so for this destination IP, I have both these alerts triggered. So it's very important that you look at it. Yeah. So this way, I mean, this is a concept that we can bring in. So we shift the attention from just all the logs or all the alerts to the alerts that are necessary, and the alerts that needs no validation, or I know that is the validation is I can automate the validation. I will directly raise an alert for this. I do not need a analyst to validate it, right? Marvin, how much time do I have left? Can I go for the last use case?
Yes, you can, Ankit. Yes, you can.
Okay, great. So so last one is the Dga malware, right? So here what I'm going to show you is that we will we will search for the domains that are being communicated to, right? What are the domains that my system is communicating to? And then here comes the interesting part. Here, so we will feed these domain names to a machine learning model. And this machine learning model, based on its past experiences and how it has been trained, it will tell me that yes, these domains look like they have been following a domain generation algorithm, or no, these are like safe domains, right? So after I get that result from my machine learning model, I will validate that with my threat intel, and then I will raise an alert. How do I do this on DNIF? Let's see. So so this is my query. So first what I'm doing is I am fetching the last 24 hours logs from my firewall, and I'm stack counting the domain names, right? And once I get these domain names, I am feeding it to my machine learning model. So this is the DGA detection machine learning model that I have, and I am feeding it to my model. So first, it has given me the domains that has been visited in the last 24 hours. then I am feeding this to my machine learning model, and it's saying that, hey, this first 3 domains looks like they are bad. The last one is okay, right? So in the next alert, in the next query, what I have done is I have only taken the bad domains that my machine learning algorithm has recommended, right? And then what I'm doing is I am running a validation on those from Kaspersky, and I am checking if are they also being reported as read by Kaspersky. So Kaspersky is saying no, only one of those looks like they are malicious, the other 2 are okay, right? So once it does that, I am getting the malicious DGA, the DGA communication that is happening. I'm raising that alert. So an module should have been generated here. Yeah, malicious domains. So this one, so a malicious domain has been set, right? So the essential thing about this is it's not very difficult to configure this, but yeah, there is a great paradigm shift in your way of thought. So we need to think in a different way to get different results, right? That brings my session to an end. But a quick question, how many of you use machine learning models on a daily basis in your use cases?
Okay, so again, nice question. So I'm putting up the poll. Number 4, I'm launching the poll. Same ground rules as previous. We are 12 minutes into the poll.
12 minutes?
Sorry, seconds. Sorry, my bad.
Wow. 12 minutes.
Yeah, I know.
He's going to bridge the SLA, huh?
Monotony is killing you, my friend. Okay, time to end.
Okay, ending poll.
All right, now sharing results.
Okay, still 37% are using, man. But Chomiron, you need to put your machine learning models out there.
Yeah, so I mean,
the community.
Yeah, we are thinking that. So yeah, we're still figuring our way. Frankly, Ankit, you know about this.
Yeah.
We're still figuring our way as to how we can make conservative machine learning models and give it away like a product and still make sure it's effective. So I think the challenge with machine learning is that there is, it's very easy to achieve 60% accuracy on day 0, but the 40% of false positives is what is essentially killing all of us right now, and that's where the adoption cycle for machine learning is still very, very low. So I think what we're still trying to figure out how. So there are, of course, the easy models are, what we see the world using right now. Is very easy to, they're commoditized, switch them on, they're almost pre-learned, and switch them on and they'll take you to 95% accuracy. But those are the easy ones. The big problems that we're still trying to solve. Research on the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
So thank you for being so patient with me. Any questions are welcome.
I think we do a 10-minute question answer session. So Mervin, you want to lead the charge?
Yes. So just give me a minute.
Meanwhile, I think I'm answering questions, for Borden, and I think love the interaction. Please keep it going. Amazing kind of. I think the thoughts are amazing. Thank you so much for being interactive. Yeah, Mervin.
Okay, so we have one question from Amit. So it's directed to you, Ankit. So how often do you threat hunt?
Okay, so threat hunting, right? We do it regularly. I mean, we do it all the time. The best thing about being a part of an MSSP kind of a team is that you have a lot of data available to play with, right? I mean, you can put all your hypotheses out there and you can check it anytime, right? It's always available. So what we do is essentially, as we keep on learning new things about the threats, we go and try it out, right? Can I catch something? I got it in one customer. Is it there in the other customer? So we do this all the time, and we keep on fine tuning ourselves and making better detections. So yeah, it's like a hobby for us.
Okay, great. I hope that answers Amit's question. So the next question we have from Neeraj now. His question is, what is the best approach for threat modeling?
Threat modeling, right? So for threat modeling, yeah, you need to know the network very well, and you need to know your ins and outs, right? So the best thing, if you're facing if you're working for a client, sit with him, talk with him. Whenever you have a doubt, go back, check. So daily very deep communications with the clients and understanding of the network is essential. If it's your own network, definitely you should know the ins and outs of it.
I believe the back and forth is what is required in that.
Yeah, exactly.
So next question is from Sachin. So his question is total automation of ops possible?
Total automation? No. Sitting right here, right now, I will say no. Total automation is not possible. We have a long way to go before we achieve that. Till now, we definitely need some human intervention in some places. Obviously, you need the engineers to engineer the whole automation, right?
Okay, there is a question from Prakash Kumar Ranjan. Ankit, you talk about security orchestration, but is it advisable to use the same unless you get your SIM-SOC matured, as it may lead to a lot of false positives and may result in business disruption?
No.
What's your take on this? I think this is a great question.
This is a definitely a question we are also asking ourselves every day, right? So no, definitely you need a certain amount of maturity and certain amount of understanding to automate stuff, right? However, the best way to tackle this is start small, take up a particular part of the network maybe, and start automating there. Get that fixed. Once that is fixed, take up another, right? So move in a phase-wise manner. Start small, build big. But whatever you build once should work every time. Am I audible?
Yeah, I think Mervin.
Yeah, that's all the time we have for questions right now. Okay, so what Ankit's going to do is going to help us answer some of the questions that is addressed to us and addressed to him as well. So we're going to do all of that. And of course, no question, as I say, no question will be left unanswered, right? So once again, we'd like to thank Ankit for presenting on this and sharing his time with us. Okay, so I would like to just highlight on Connect at NIF.8 now. First and foremost, hope you guys are enjoying this meetup. The whole idea at NIF is we're trying to build this community of like-minded cybersecurity enthusiasts. And the most important fact for us is we like to hear from you, your feedback, and whatever we can take from this to make this and make these meetups more enriching. So please feel free to write us an email at connect@nif.it. Very important. One more thing, the community captain award that I mentioned and even Shom mentioned in the start. So go ahead, go to stack.nif.8. Okay, just be a part of the community, ask questions, learn, collaborate, and just have fun, right? So that's the whole idea here, and that's what we're trying to put out there. So without further ado, we are now at the last session of the evening. Here we have our NIF guy, the product guy, Apurva. Okay, Apurva is, of course, the engineer and product designer at NIF. Okay, he has more than 6 years of experience in software architecture, design, and development. When he's not coding or geeking out, what he loves doing is going on long rides, going through tough treks basically, and what he really likes is going on activities that really get his adrenaline pumping. So his topic is Next at Nif, which is a roadmap to the upcoming features in Nif. So without further ado, over to Kapoor.
So I think I'm bumping before I just want to just add one more line to this. The reason we are doing this and this is part of the Nif Connect session. I want to just reiterate so that we're on point. The idea is for all of us, right, to help build this entire product up and make it into a world-class product. So I mean, we are very excited every time when we've come and met you. We've always seen that we always want to improve. We always want to build new features and new capabilities into the system. So, and we just love the energy that all of you bring in and the kind of feature requests which are really useful for us to build the roadmap going forward. So I think this is an extension of that program, and we want to also constantly keep communicating with you on what the roadmap is, what we are thinking of, what we are about to build, and what we are already building, right? So this gives you a clear idea of where we are going with the platform, and we want to make sure this channel of communication is on and we are talking. So Appy is the best in the space. He is the leader of the product. He is going to talk about where the product is going, and will help us understand what we are building right now. And since we are going to do this continuously, right, we will leave something for next time as well. So, but this is immediate future that he's talking about. So over to Appy.
Hey guys, welcome to the first edition of Nif Connect. Mervin, thank you for this wonderful introduction, and Ankit, you are awesome. So I'm sure you have enjoyed the presentations so far. I'm going to share with what's new, what's next at Nif. So I'll be talking about, we've got a new mail handle for you guys, so you can write into us. I'm going to talk about the product cycle. So 2.5 years, 3 years down the line, Nif has matured, and now we are looking at a stable platform, and we are going to take this forward. We are setting up certain timelines with respect to the product, when, what, how, why. I'll let you know. We have got something super exciting and awesome for all you guys, all the admins, all the stock sitting out there. This is for you. And we'll talk about certain releases, what we are cooking up right now and what's next. So first off, we love to hear from you. The Nif roadmap is being built right now, and it's a journey, and we want you to be part of it. So this handle is just for you, product@nif.it. So all feature requests, all suggestions, all feedback, everything is welcome, and we want you to write to it, and we'll get back to you on this. Quickly moving forward. So we are now in the process of defining a product cycle. So we would like to release a version of Nif every quarter. Every quarter, that version will bring in a host of new features, a lot of updates, and if any, patches. That new feature, that new version of Nif will be updated for the next 6 months. So once you're on that version, you will get all the patches, all the fixes, anything that is vitally important to that version. It will be there available for you for the next 6 months. We will provide support for 1 full year of support. Any issues that you face, any hindrances that you might have, you'll get 1 full year support for that particular version. And as always, all versions of Nif are upgradable, and they are available for you. So these are the timelines that we are looking at. So as you can see, we have got 3 major Nif versions out there right now. That is the 7.8.2, 7.8.3, the 7.9.0 and 7.9.1, and the 7.12.0 and 7.12.1. So these 3 are the active versions of Nif. They come with a 1 full year support, and they come with 6 full months of updates. We have got a new release lined up for you, which is the 8.10. It's upcoming release. It will be out there very soon, and it's going to be supported till Jan 2020, and it will be updated till July 2019. So to all the admins and SOCs out there, so we know that you handle a vast architecture, and Nif itself has a lot of components. You have got so many adapters pumping in logs. You have got so many data stores which are indexing and handling all your queries. You have got the correlator which manages all your reports. So we thought, let's build a solution. Let's build a thing which can help you ease and enable you to do things better. So DCC is designed in such a way that it can help you diagnose issues. It will help you detect faults, and it will be able to deliver results. It is a REST-driven utility. It's a REST-driven solution, and it's CLI based. Going forward, we'll be able to enable this on go.nif.it. It will have a console integration. You will be able to run commands. You will be able to run things directly from the console, and you'll be able to manage and administer the entire Nif deployment right from the console. Using DCC, it streamlines your entire management process. You will be able to automate hosts of checks. You will be able to automate all fixes. If any component goes down, you will receive all the alerts and all the messages related to that. You can easily start, stop services, and much, much more. I'll quickly run through some of the things that DCC will enable you to do. A new feature which we are trying to build is you should be able to cross-connect all systems from a single host. So from a data store, you should be able to ping and check what's going on in the adapter. You should be able to look at what's going on the correlator, what reports are in the queue, what logs are going in PER or maybe DNS. So you should be able to do all that with DCC. And we are making it compatible across Nif versions. All Nif versions, all active Nif versions will get this feature. You will be able to deploy it on current setups as well, and it will be pre-baked in the upcoming Nif versions. So these are some of the commands that DCC will be able to run. So you can check the service statuses. You can check the service status for a particular system or all of them. You can check out your license information, your usage, what kind of features that license is mapped to. This is the part where magic happens. You can write DCC system diagnose, and it will run a host of checks on the system, and it will give you a report. So looking at the report, one glance, you'll be able to know what's going on where. It has got all these nifty features built in. So you should be able to back up. You should be able to restore configuration, indices, and lots more. This is just a preview of how it will look. This is still work in progress, but this says a lot. The last part I would like to cover is the releases, the upcoming releases and the current releases that we have. The current releases, those release notes are available on the website. Currently, we have released version 7.8.3. Already one of the customers, they are being onboarded on this version, and we are sending out plan of actions across. So we would want all of you to be on this version. The next update that we have pushed so far is version 7.12.1. Now the 7.12.1 is a minor release version. So whatever issues that we have found out, we have fixed, and this version is ready for updates. The next version that we are coming out is with version 8.1.0. This has got some huge features coming out. So on top of that is case management. So you guys are really going to love case management. The kind of things that we are able to achieve using this feature, it will be demoed across. We can obviously introduce this in the next Connect session. We have optimized and we have enhanced a lot of search queries. Now we are introducing a label-based search for checkers. We are making sure that you should be able to search across using case-insensitive terms in fetch. And we are introducing a new feature from 8.1.0, which will be able to give you ticker alerts. So right on the console, when you are logged in, there will be a small ticker of information showing, if you've exceeded your utilization or your disk space is full or your connectivity to the unit server is lost. So any usage related alerts, and this is going to be configurable. So you should be able to see all of that right on the go.nif.it console. So that's all for now from my side. Thanks for tuning in too. Please write to product@nif.it and happy hunting.
So that was Apurva with what we can expect to see, talking about the future and what is coming at NIF. Right. So thanks. Thank you very much, Apurva. Due to lack of time at present, we ran out of time. So we were supposed to do a quick Q&A session, right? But as I can see, we had a overwhelming, flow of questions coming in, and most of them have been answered, right? So I will pass it on to Shomron right now to actually pick up the winner that we mentioned for the best question of the evening, of the entire evening, and over to Shomron is pick up that one lucky winner who will receive a 1,000 rupee Amazon gift voucher.
Okay, so I think the difficult one. By the way, before that, can we, Marvin, do we have a few minutes? I think there's some very interesting questions for Ankit. Can we take a couple of questions for him at least? Couple of questions.
Of course.
For sure. Okay, so Ankit, question for you. This is from Mr. Vikneshwaran Rajagopalan. How intelligent that Nif in handling cross correlation when it comes to SOAR module? For example, if there's a brute force attack, will the SOAR module check the IDB for various source intelligent? I think that's IDB stands for intelligent database. For the source IP based on the alert, and will that take action on the IPS, WAF, and the firewall at the same time in parallel?
Yes, definitely. I think when you have a brute force, and as I have showed also, right, you can validate the alerts right from the console. I mean, you don't need to validate, even the machine will be validating it for you. And of course, then you can push out a notification to your firewall and to your WAF and to your IPS to block the same. Only thing, it needs to be dealt with care. I mean, again, the automatic remediation is not to be handled very lightly. But yes, definitely you can do this. You can check it from the console itself. One
more question from Sohail. Ankit, how do you store and access data? Is it secure? Is it easily available when required? Let's say after 4 months.
Definitely. I mean, obviously it depends upon how much retention period you have configured on the DNIF instance that you have got, right? But yeah, definitely. I mean, even if you do not have it, like if you do not have 4 months of data online, you can quickly paste that back into, give that index back into the database, in a couple of minutes, and then run a query for 4 months in another couple of minutes. So yeah, definitely. And as to how we store and how we access the data, so yeah, so in the backend there is a there's a Elasticsearch, right, Shamiron, that is storing the data in a index. And
yeah, so if you're using the data lake format, you'll be using a Elasticsearch at the backend for your event store, or else it can be a Lucene index as well if it's a standalone.
Yeah. So yeah, and that is very much encrypted, protected and secured from accessing, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So last question for you is, as you mentioned, every network is different. Does it mean that you as a threat hunter have to build analytics or queries every time you have a new customer? I understand when you say that new analytics can be built for new Intel related APTs, but APT attacks are not common. So red team attacks are very different from, have a very different signature. So how do you ensure that there is something that can be used to start the threat hunting process as soon as a client is onboarded? Yeah, very interesting question.
Very interesting question. Yeah. So yeah, where can we start? I think attack by MITRE is the best place to start right now for your hypothesis building and how you start your threat hunting. As to whether I have to customize my queries and analytics, of course, definitely I need to do. However, we have like a standard starting framework from where we start the threat hunting, and then as need be, as the network is, we need to customize it around the client, also around the client's needs. Yeah. And for red teaming and APT, I think there is a new type of product that is coming out in the market, the adversary emulating systems, that basically you can you can configure them to act as an adversary, and you can start training yourself around hunting with that, right? You can do a red team, blue team, purple team exercises. Yeah.
Okay, so now that we have run out of time, we have still lots of questions to be answered. We've tried to answer as many as we could, but we'll keep on answering questions even after the session ends. But for the session, I've gone through almost all questions. I think the award, the most deserving question asking award, should go to Mr. S. Tyagi. So, Mr. S. Tyagi, congratulations. You are the first award winner for the Nif Connect session. And we hope that all of you are back on the session in the coming time. I want to pass the mic back to Mervyn Marks, and so that he can take the session forward. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, and congratulations to Mr. S. Tyagi for the win. So that's a nice thing. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of this session. Thank you once again for joining. Thank you for being a part of this community. Really appreciate it. Very special thanks to all the presenters today. Everyone from Lenora, Ravi, Ankit, of course, very special thanks to him, Abby, and thank them for their time, thank them for all these things. Thank everyone again, and also very special thank going out to Shom. And we hope to see you in our next Connect meet that we will have. It's planned on the 4th of April, and it's going to be executed twice. So hopefully see you then. Also, please do not forget, you have time to go ahead and tweet and post in regards to this. It is #NIF Connect and also @NIFHQ. Go ahead and tag us and post in, speak about us, tweet about us, and you stand a chance of winning an Amazon gift voucher of worth 1,000 rupees. You have till tomorrow 5 p.m. to go ahead and do this. So as I mentioned earlier, go ahead, go postal on the posts, right? And also be active on stack.nif.it, and keep be active there. Keep liking, keep asking questions, keep answering questions. Read through others' answers, and maybe contribute in whatever manner is possible. We love this idea of being being a whole community where everyone can speak to each another very freely and contribute very freely. So go ahead and do that. Signing off, and thank you once again. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you. Thank you, Mo, for
Thank you so much.
keeping it together. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Good night.